everyone! This week for our kids' kits, we're making dragon puppets or sea serpent puppets. You get to decide which creature your puppet is. In your kit this week, you have yarn, you have felt to make the head and tail, you have sticks to put your puppet on, and you have this paper, which this week is really important because it has these templates on it. You will also need some scissors, a pencil or a marker. I recommend a pencil, but all I could find was a marker. And I have these, which are called glue dots. They're really hard to see, but they are little sticky dots. You could also use tacky glue or fabric glue for this project. I don't recommend Elmer's glue. I tried to use Elmer's glue on my test project and it fell apart. So this felt does not react well with Elmer's. I also found that masking tape worked in a pinch if you really are having trouble getting it to stick together, but it doesn't look very nice. So try to find some tacky glue or fabric glue, or you can use glue dots as well. All right, let's get started. The first piece of our dragon that we're going to make is this bit here, the body. So I'm going to put our sticks and our felt and all our other pieces aside for now so that I can work with our yarn. So for this, you're going to start with the yarn, the one end of the yarn kind of in your hand, and you hold it there with your thumb. Then you've got this long bit going off the end. So with that, you will go, and it drapes over the back of your hand like that, see? So you're going to bring the yarn forward between your pointer finger and your middle finger, and then backward, and then forward again between your ring finger and your pinky. Then you're going to loop around your ring finger and go around the back of your middle finger, come forward again and go down behind your pointer. And then we're going to do that all again. So forward, backward, forward, forward. And then we're going to leave this long strand hanging down the back. Then you can kind of see, if you look, on the front of each of your fingers, you have two pieces of yarn, one towards the tip of your finger and one towards your palm. So we're going to take those ones on the bottom towards our palms and we're going to pull them up over the other one and off our fingers. And if it helps, you can kind of grab the top loop with the tip of your finger as you pull that off. And voila, you've done your first set of stitches. Then you go and we do most of that again. So we're going to go forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, until we have two loops again. And what was our top loop has become our bottom loop, and we're going to put those up over our top loops. Do it again. And you keep going like this. Probably, honestly, keep going until your yarn is gone. Now you can see what I just did. I took the piece that was in my palm and I pulled it backwards and I pulled it tight a little bit, and that is going to make it, if your yarn is looking a little bit like a tangly mess, if you pull on it, that will make it look, you'll see more what it's going to look like when you're done. So you can do that once in a while and see what it actually looks like. Don't pull it too tight though, or you'll have trouble getting your loops over your fingers. So this is a great activity. Just like our sanding last week, this is a great activity to do while you're listening to an audiobook or watching TV or as a fidget while you're hanging out, because once you get used to what you're doing, It doesn't take too much conversation, or not conversation, concentration, but it does keep your fingers pretty busy, which is nice. So I am going to finish my strand of yarn here, and we will speed this up so that you don't have to watch the whole thing, and I'll see you in a second. All right, welcome back to normal speed. As you can see, I've got a nice long string going down of a nice thick cord, and I am at the end of my string on this end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the end of my string back down over the palm of my hand and hold it with my thumb. And now, instead of making a new set of loops, I'm going to use these loops and combine them. That'll make more sense when I show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to take the loop from my first finger here and put it on my middle finger, like that. And then I'm going to take this bottom loop and put it over the top one. Then I'm going to take this loop from my middle finger, put it on my ring finger, same thing, put that over the loop. Then I'm going to take the end and the loop from my ring finger, put the end through that loop and pull it tight, and that will make a nice knot. And ta-da, you have your dragon's body. All right, now that we have a body, let's make a head and a tail to go with it, shall we? We'll put that aside and we'll start working with our templates. So I drew these templates for you. They are not super duper detailed in any way. So if you cut these out and you say, you know, I want my dragon to be a little bit bigger, or I want my dragon to have, I don't know, a really jagged tail, you can do that while you're cutting out your template. I would not make them any smaller than this size because you want them to cover up the sticks. So there's our head, and then we'll cut out our tail. I think I'm going to make my tail a little bit longer than this one. So I'm going to keep going, and then I can take this extra piece of paper hanging off the end and I can make my tail a little bit longer. There we go. I think that looks nice. And I'll put my scrap of paper aside. I kept my pictures so that I can see how these look in case I want to reference them. And I've got my templates. And templates are a fancy word for stencils or pattern. That's all that means. So I'm going to take my felt, take my first color, and put my template on it. And I want to put it kind of close to the edge. That makes it easier to cut out, and it means that I have a bigger piece of extra instead of lots of little pieces. Then I will trace my template onto my felt. If you mess up, that's okay. This is going to be the back of your puppet, so it's not going to show up. There we go. Looks good, and I'm going to cut it out. And super secretly, for the magic of video, I had already cut out a head and a tail previously, so I'm going to use those and put this one aside. I also have my scraps. So you'll have a scrap from your head, the head you cut out, and you'll have a scrap from the tail. I have 2 heads. Oops. You're going to have more scrap from your tail than from your head. Now, you can see in the picture that that dragon has some ears and some little spikes down its back. So what I do to make those spikes is I take my dragon's head template and I trace it again. And from that, I draw my spikes, and I draw them a little bit bigger than I want them to be, because this part down here is going to be what's going to be glued, so we need space to put the glue on. There are some spikes for our dragon's head. We'll cut those out. And you can also use your scraps to make things like eyes. I put spikes on my dragon's tail, like on the very end here. You can do whatever you'd like. You can make it a crown. If you had some fabric that was in fiery colors, you could make it fire to breathe. It's up to you. That's what I love about these projects. This is your dragon. You make them how you want. All right, I'm gonna turn this around so the part where you can see the tracing isn't showing anymore. And there we go. Look how nice that looks. I'm gonna use my glue dots. And yeah, you can see they're kind of weird. They're like clear, gooey dots, but the cool thing is they stretch. So I can put one right there. Yeah. And I'm gonna put one right here. Yeah. That looks gross, like slime or something. And then I put my dragon on top and press it down. And voila! Dragon head. And then you would do the same thing if you wanted to attach spikes to the tail, or if you wanted to attach an eye, you can just do it right there. Whatever you feel. So now we need to attach our tail and our head to our sticks and our body. How shall we do this? Now, in the picture you got, people made 2 layers of a head and 2 layers of a tail and sewed them together. We didn't have enough felt for that. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to make slots for these sticks to slide into. You're gonna take your dragon's neck, and you're gonna fold it up a little bit, only about, I think that's probably about 1/2 inch. And then you're gonna take that part that you folded up and you're gonna fold it in half this way. So you've got 4 layers there, and into those layers, kind of halfway up it, you're going to cut a slit. And don't cut all the way across, just cut about halfway through, from the fold to about halfway through the neck. I'm gonna make mine a little clearer. See that? Then when you unfold it, you have a little slot there, and you can take your stick, and if you make the holes, find the holes, you can slide your stick through the hole there and through the hole there, and voila, it stays pretty well affixed. Then we're gonna do the same thing on the tail. Take the end, fold it up about 1/2 inch, then fold it in half the long way. And from this fold here on the side, you cut in about halfway. And when you open it up, you have holes to stick your stick through. There you go. And if you don't like the way that the stick looks showing through here, you can paint it or use markers to color it and make it match your dragon. That is up to you. All right, and now that we have our dragon's head and tail attached to our dowels, we need to attach the body. So if we flip these over to the back again, you can see that there is a little bit of the stick sticking up past the slots we made. We're gonna just take our body we made, and I have a long tail here. I take that and I just tie it in a knot around the dowel above. I missed. Slide my loop on there. All right, so I ended up with a loop. Let's see if I can get it onto the dowel. There we go. So I just am tying the body string around the dowel. There we go. And same thing on this end. Take our string, tie it in a knot. I trimmed my strings too small, but you can kind of get the idea if I do that. There we go. So there you have it. You can slide that up so that the stick doesn't show. There you have it. You've got a dragon who will look really cool in your puppet shows. If you made paper puppets with us over the summer, this is a great addition to your puppet family. You can do a puppet show now about those characters meeting a new dragon friend. I would love to see some pictures of puppet shows since we have a long weekend. And I hope you guys have lots of fun making and customizing and playing with your dragon puppets. And I will see you next week.